Hey guys! Last month, I created some polls asking you guys which Pokemon in each generation you would want to see get a new evolution. I picked a handful of the ones you voted for, just based on what I felt most inspired by in the moment. Let's take a look at those evolutions. Let's start with the most recent generation of Pokemon, Gen 9. Scovillain won the poll for this generation with a 53% vote. One of the most popular ideas people have for an evolution is to give Scovillain more peppers. Lori the Raptor 7704 and Dracron X suggested this Hydra concept in the comments of that poll. I kept that concept in mind when creating this evolution, Reprobate. I thought having a bunch of extra heads would make this design a bit too busy, so I just included a single extra head. This still matches the idea that Hydra grow 2 heads when one is cut off. The new pepper head in the middle is yellow, since that's another common suggestion people have when contemplating what a new Scovillain evolution could look like. The head in the middle has a fire surrounding it, to hint that it's the one in power and that this Pokemon is stronger and more intimidating than ever before. The middle head is the only one that speaks with other Pokemon, like its Scovillain and Capsicid subordinates, while the 2 remaining heads tend to just growl and bite. Reprobate is much larger than Scovillain. I felt like Scovillain being less than 3 feet tall made it a lot less intimidating looking, and I think it'd be cool for there to be a leader that is much larger and play into that more. Its name is based on the Carolina Reaper, which is one of the hottest peppers out there, and reprobate, which is a word used to describe someone who's depraved and wicked. A few viewers had a suggestion that this Pokemon should receive an ability that allows for either Ghost or Dragon-type moves to be powered up, while the Pokemon itself keeps the Grass and Fire typing. Timekeepers 9714 suggested a Ghost same-type attack bonus as an ability, based on the idea of Ghost Peppers, and in this case Carolina Reaper Peppers. Dracron X had the idea for Dragon-type moves to be powered up, based on the idea that this Pokemon is now a Hydra. Which of these abilities would you want your Reprobate to have? I made a new evolution for another Grass-type Pokemon, Maractus. This Pokemon won the poll for Gen 5 by a huge margin, and I can see why. I think the Pokemon itself is very cute, but it would be great for it to receive an evolution that's stronger and more usable in the games. Maybe that evolution could be this Pokemon, Cactolorico. I kept the cactus part of Maractus' name intact, but incorporated another inspiration, Baile Folklorico, also known as Ballet Folklorico. These are collective terms used to describe traditional cultural dances of Mexico that involve exaggerated movements and highly choreographed routines. This Pokemon loves to dance just as much as Maractus, but in its evolved state, it's much larger and is able to really capture the spotlight. Trainers and Pokemon alike will travel for miles to see Cactolorico dance. I made the bottom half of Cactolorico large and round to both look like certain varieties of cactus, but to also reference how traditional Folklorico dresses can sometimes look large and round when being partly lifted by the dancer. Initially, I had made the shape on the bottom look more like how this pose shows, and used succulent leaves to emphasize the shape. I ended up scrapping this idea though, because it was really starting to give off Blossom vibes. I tried to incorporate more elements of the traditional dresses instead with the markings, like the zigzag patterns on the bottom and patterns on the top half of the Pokemon. I also changed the pink of Maractus' flowers to this vibrant red and incorporated the color throughout the design. I thought making the color more intense and eye-catching added on to the concept of this Pokemon being in the spotlight for all to see while dancing. Next up is a Pokemon that originated from Alola, Salandit. Specifically, the male version of Salandit. When this Pokemon was first revealed, I had really wanted to see it get an evolution that kept some part of the dark mask or bandana that Salandit had on its head, but that was scrapped in Salazzle's design. So I was glad to see a lot of you guys also wanted to see this little lizard get some attention. Here's my take on a male Salandit evolution. Meet Salazzle. I kept the Sal part that is found in both Salandit and Salazzle's names to keep things consistent. The name also comes from the word assassin, and there are definitely elements of its design that resemble characters from a certain other franchise. Now you might be wondering, how could it be possible for a male Salandit to evolve? Only female Salandit can become Salazzle, because that Pokemon is able to release pheromones to control male Salandit. These Salandit then offer Salazzle their food, leaving them too malnourished to evolve themselves. Salazzle would be a Pokemon that you wouldn't be able to find in the wild because of this, and could only occur through the intervention and love of a trainer. This was an idea that was suggested by Memo Vasquez 64. In a new region, Salazzle and Salandit can only be found in one corner of the map, but if a trainer takes their male Salandit to a location furthest away from that area where the pheromones can't reach the Pokemon, it could evolve. Maybe it would be something like how you take Eevee to the mossy or icy rock to evolve them into Leafeon or Glaceon. Upon evolving, and with the support of their trainer, the Pokemon may journey back to their original home, using its stealth abilities to sneak past Salandit and challenge Salazzle in an attempt to stop the cycle of Salandit being controlled. I would also like to think that as a Salazzle, its body would have adapted to prevent it from being controlled by Salazzle itself. Salazzle is a physical attacker, being a contrast to Salazzle being a special attacker. It will utilize the dark and shadows to conceal itself and strike its opponents without ever being seen or heard. It primarily uses its tail to attack. The tail curls into a hook, and the red spikes heat up and can leave a nasty burn. Dewgong is a Pokemon that I've always had a soft spot for. I think the Pokemon is pretty cute, even if it's a bit simplistic. I thought it would be a Pokemon that could really use an evolution or new gimmick form of some kind, which was the inspiration for creating these polls in the first place. The community seems to feel the same way about this, so let's see what an evolution for Dewgong could look like. Meet Narlux. Since Seal and Dewgong have names that are, let's say very influenced by real-life animals, I wanted to make sure another aquatic animal got a shout out here. It fits in with this Pokemon now having a long spiral horn. The Lux part comes from the Latin word for light, which ties into some of the elements in this Pokemon's design. In my review and picks Gen 1 Shiny Pokemon video, I gave Seal and Dewgong new shinies that incorporated the whole rainbow iridescent look to them. I really wanted to include this concept in this evolution. The horn and gems on its chest are this iridescent texture, with the colors shifting and changing in the light. To also tie in the pastel rainbow and light-changing colors, I made the end of the tail long and flowing to reference the Aurora Borealis. This is something that I noticed was used in a lot of other evolution and mega forms for Dewgong, and I just had to incorporate it because it just works so well with these little guys. Narlux can be found in the coldest of waters. Its tusks have even sharpened and changed to look like icicles, and there are frozen gems adorning its flippers. And finally, I came up with an evolution for this Gen 2 Pokemon, Ledian. This poll was really close, but I'm happy that our little ladybug friend was chosen to get an evolution. I think that Ladybug and Ledian look like such cute and friendly Pokemon. I really wanted to keep that with this evolution, while incorporating more star inspiration since that is mentioned so often in Ledian's Pokedex entries. This resulted in this Pokemon, Ledigazer. Ledigazer have massive wings that help it to fly high in the sky at incredible speeds. Some have claimed that Ledigazer are able to even break out into space. The bottom two wings now look like shooting stars. Ledigazer emits a bright light from its bottom wings while flying that also produce a glowing powder. They are most active at night, with some trainers mistaking them for actual shooting stars. Ledigazer is known for granting wishes and improving morale. Its pre-evolution, Ledian, are said to be stronger when there are more stars in the night sky. Its glowing wings produce as much energy as a packed starry sky, giving its Ledian counterparts the strength they need. This Pokemon is primarily supportive to others in battle, but opponents are often surprised by Ledigazer's power. Like Ledian, it uses its boxing glove hands to land multiple blows. When attacking, it launches itself into the air. The speed of its descent causes the gloves to glow and releases sparks of light that grow in intensity the further down the Pokemon gets. If the opposing Pokemon isn't knocked out by the pummeling fists, it will be left paralyzed. Which of these new evolutions was your favorite? And what Pokemon would you like to see get an evolution in the future? I'll still most likely create evolutions for the other Pokemon you guys voted for in the future, once I'm able to come up with ideas for them. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!